What's up, bosses? Welcome to About Her Business, the podcast where we leave all the gossip at the door and get straight down to business. I'm your host, Jonte. And today we have the founder of Harley Street Counseling, psychotherapist, and menopause specialist, Miss Mira Mihat. Now, Miss Mihat works with women at a significant crossroads in their lives. She also owns a menopause meditation app, and she's here today to help us balance those mood swings on what she means business. So, ladies, grab those cups and those notepads and let's get down to it. The meeting is now session. Welcome, Miss Miat.
Hello.
Thank you so much for being here. Are you ready to get into today's conversation?
I certainly am. It's lovely to be here, Jonte. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Yes, ma'am. Let's go. So, take us back to the beginning. What originally drew you into psychotherapy and behavior, and how did that evolve into a focus on midlife and menopause?
Okay. So I have 30 years background experience in education, leadership, management training, and then clinical practice. Now, I came into psychotherapy through a route called NLP, Neuro Linguistic Programming, which was devised by Richard Bandler and John Grinder. They were the founders of NLP. Now, they spent a lot of time with the eminent psychologists of their time, people like Fritz Perls, Virginia Satir, and of course, the wonderful Milton Erickson. Now, he was the father of hypnotherapy. So, in my job roles, behavior change and emotional well being has always been the common thread, whether it's been working with children, whether it's been working with adults, whether it's working with management and leaders. And how I got into menopause was actually the menopause focus came about really through my own experience. I had 7 years of severe cognitive impairment, and they were not recognized, and it was absolute hell. And that experience actually led me to leaving my corporate job. It left me floundering and deeply depressed and actually ashamed because I wasn't able to cope and I didn't know what was happening to me. So this then led me into research, training. I started talking to a lot more women. I had very deep conversations with a lot of women who were experiencing the same patterns. And that's how I got into what I'm doing now.
Oh, wow. And thank you for sharing because a lot of people don't put themselves out there and tell their own personal lived experiences. Now, everybody knows a little bit about psychotherapy, but you again spent over 30 years in this field. What pivotal moment or client experience shaped the direction of your work the most?
It was my own experience. It was confirmed and deepened through other women. There was a point, actually, even after when I was on HRT, where I still couldn't recall my son's names. And I thought, oh my God, I'm failing. And it wasn't a tip of the tongue moment. They're gone. The names had actually gone. That cognitive disruption is absolutely terrifying. I can't tell you how scary it is. And it sent me into this period of real self-education. And as I started learning about it, I started listening very differently to the women that I came across, to my clients. And I knew personally what this meant. And what struck me was how consistent the picture is. It doesn't matter who you meet, what walk of life they're in. A lot of people do have traumatic experience of menopause and cognitive dysfunction or disparement. Certainly, if you're neurodiverse as well, that seems to be quite paramount. The consistent picture is memory loss, absent-mindedness, weight gain that made no sense, sleep that had gone haywire, the hot, the cold flushes, as we know. We know the physical symptoms, a lot of them, but these other ones, the cognitive ones, we're not as aware of. And we just think it's, we're getting older, that's normal part of life, and it's not treatable. But it is. And when we join the dots together, it's connected, it's explainable, and it's treatable. So yeah, and the moment I understood that, my whole experience changed.
And you hit on when a lot of people are going through those menopausal phases, they think that she's just having mood swings today. But again, it's that cognitive side. And a lot of people don't think about that side. So thank you again for highlighting that area for my audience out there so we can learn to give people grace in those moments because as you said, you don't know what you're going through and you're just adjusting to it. So that's a great point that you just made, Miss Mihat. Now, at what point did you recognize that there was a real gap in how menopause was being addressed in the market?
I lived it before I named it professionally. Again, in the UK, and I don't know what it's like in the States, I don't know how similar it is, but definitely in the UK, menopause is not recognized, well, hasn't been until very least recently, until the last 3 years, hasn't been recognized as being a thing. It was only when I started actively educating myself and talking to others that I understood the true scale of it here. And then what it was, women from healthcare professionals, they just went and they spoke to their healthcare professional, and the healthcare professional would start writing a prescription for antidepressants or anti-anxiety meds without actually listening to the full picture, because what they were listening was the primary symptoms. Oh, I feel really down, I feel really depressed, I'm not sleeping. Okay, well, let's prescribe you some sleeping pills. Oh, you feel really down, let's give you some antidepressants. They weren't actually putting all the pieces together and saying, this woman is in menopause. And that's where I knew that there was a gap that needed to be addressed. It had to change from the inside.
And menopause in America has it's been talked about, but when it comes down to actually understanding what women are going through, like we have our estimated dates of when menopause may start for women. We have our little signs and symptoms and things like that. And a lot of our family doctors are educating themselves, and our gynecologists are educating themselves on women bodies and the changes that they go through. So America has kind of shifted. However, again, there's still that judgment from those that are not in those fields on the outside. So to most people that aren't doctors, it's, oh, she's going through a mood swing or she's going through something. As you said, it goes back to like a mental health issue rather than this woman's life is changing. So in America, we have our moments, and in the field we do. But as far as just the society accepting it and taking it in and wanting to educate themselves on menopause, I'm not seeing that as often in America.
But it's good that your medical professional are on board with it. I mean, here it's taken a long time. Even now, even though they've made it legal for students, it's law for students to have to study it in medical school, they're only dedicating 1 hour in the whole curriculum to menopause education. It's still not good. It's still not great.
Oh my, 1 hour.
Well, that's what I've been told. I don't know categorically. Different schools might be allocating different lengths of time, but certainly the people that I've spoken to that went to a certain school of medicine here, they only got 1 hour of time. The statistics over here, it says between 3 and 6% of the curriculum. So if you think about a 5 year medical degree curriculum, and you're only having 3 to 6% of that curriculum on women's issues, it's not very much time. Within that, the majority of time is spent on delivering babies or obstetrics.
Oh, oh wow. And thank you for highlighting that, because as a person who plans on going to medical school, I had no idea that was happening over in the UK. Now, I'm gonna be honest with y'all audience. I haven't did my research and checked into our schools and see how medical schools are setting things up as far as learning women bodies and the menopause process. But I know as far as how the ethics boards and the state boards are set up, a lot of the doctors have to continue on their education. So they're offering like continual education courses on menopause, which is a couple of hours with sitting down with a professional and learning more about menopause. So it's a little bit different, but I'm definitely going to check into that university style medical school statistics across this country, because you just highlighted something for me, Miss Mia, that I had absolutely no idea about. So I really do appreciate you on that.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Now, let's get into talking about what you have built. You built Harley Street Counseling into a trusted name. What were the early strategic decisions that help you position your brand in such a specialized space?
Yeah. So when I first established Harley Street, I had two clear specialist areas. The first was working with children and young people. I mean, that felt like a natural extension of my teaching career. So that was fine. So with them, we covered things like anxiety, stress, phobia, OCDs, because there are a number of young people now that suffer with significant anxiety, significant levels of stress. And I had both the background and the passion to help them. So That's where that came in. And it's work that, to be honest, that I still do and I still love. The second, though, was supporting women in midlife, navigating through this messy period called menopause. For many, it's messy, not all. I have to say that because there are some women out there that never experience a messy menopause. They go through it so easily, which is wonderful. But for those of us that do struggle, there's not much out there. So that was something that came, obviously, as I've said, from my own experience and the fact that I was 7 years stranded and needed help. So I have a personal drive, a personal mission to make sure that other women don't suffer in the way that I do. Alongside that, I developed a deeper focus on the intersection of menopause behavior change, psychology, and also nervous system regulation. And then I moved into corporate training early, working with organizations such as Google, Bayer, Deloitte, which meant that I was building credibility and reach a scale, not just one client at a time. Some of my corporate work I deliver directly under Harley Street Consulting, and some I also deliver in collaboration with other specialists in the menopause space. So I work with Over the Bloody Moon, for example, and we co-deliver menopause management training. It's a really strong partnership because we share the same values and making this accessible and evidence-based in the workplace.
Wow. And again, a lot of entrepreneurs' mission starts off with that lived experience. And again, thank you so much for sharing with our audience because you don't really see that a lot with those big titles of psychotherapists and even therapists. They're not open about their own personal journeys and why they originally got in the field and applying it to like nervous system regulation. That is huge because even over in America, I have not seen that yet. So you are literally out here doing something that I haven't seen in America yet. Let's get into your clinical practice because you blend tools like hypnosis and nervous system regulation. How did you package that expertise into services that people could understand and invest in?
Okay. So I led with outcomes rather than therapy labels, if you like. So instead of opening with, I do hypnotherapy, I focused on what actually changes. So improved sleep, reduced anxiety, better confidence, cognitive clarity. And once someone can see what's possible, then that's how things become interesting and they don't feel so intimidated.
And
When it comes to skepticism around hypnosis, I address it directly. I explain what hypnotherapy is and what it isn't, and with real examples. So I tell people, if you come to me and you've come to me, say, for a fear of driving, and that's what I'm there to help you with. When I've got you into a relaxed state and I start asking you about your bank history, your credit card details, you're going to come straight out of that relaxation and that hypnosis because it's not about mind control. You've come here to me for a specific task. If I deviate from that task at all, you will come out of trance because that's what you're here for. And because the job of the brain is to protect you, that's its number one function. And my job is to help you get to where you need to get to. When I explain it like that, that is what helps people shift.
absolutely. And here in America, hypnotherapy has been very controversial. And at one point in time, it was banned. And you highlighted a great aspect of it, which is professionals have become more comfortable with explaining the process to their clients and making them feel comfortable in the process and letting them know what it is and what it isn't. Because at one point, a lot of people did think that hypnotherapy was about mind control, and you did have a few people that was out here literally taking advantage of people, but that's literally not what it is, y'all. It is literally getting you to go back into a moment in time and helping you through that moment that you're going through that may be holding you back, like say driving, for example. So I'm a fan of hypnotherapy, but America is still controversial about it. But I'm telling y'all, that's what a form of therapy that I think a lot of people, especially those that have been through traumatic experiences, especially in childhood, that may be fearful of talking about it in adulthood, should be offered the opportunity because that's how we heal, y'all. We have to look at all these different approaches. A lot of people think I'm putting you under a spell and you're dazed and you're not in your right mind. And as you just gave the great example of, if I ask you for your credit card details, you're going to come out that trance. So
You're gonna come.
there's the example of how it really truly works. Like your brain is going to register, oh, something's playing with me and this ain't it. So that was a great highlight for our audience out there on what hypnotherapy actually really looks like. Now,
So just to follow on from that, because a lot of people will say, well, hang on, when we see people on stage, you see all these great hypnotists and they're making them do some really weird and wacky things. Surely that's mind control. No, what's happened with them is they've actually come on stage and they know that they're going to be ridiculed. They know that there's going to be something weird happening. And they've actually agreed to be an active participant in that. And therefore, that's why they do the things they do. And also, they trust the person who's doing it as well. They
abs-
know they're not going to be in real trouble, if you
ab-
know what I mean.
absolutely. So y'all heard it from the professional herself. They know what's about to happen because they're trained to tell you literally what is about to happen. And if you have a person that's not telling you that, you might want to find another professional. But that is literally what they do. They literally walk you through the process, let you know how the process is going to work, and then you go out there and perform. And again, in America, that's how it has always been. You see this great person come out and everybody's running around barking like dogs and things like that. So thank you for opening it up and sharing with our audience, because now I hope this changes a lot of people's minds when it comes to hypnotherapy.
I'm a great believer in telling my clients or telling whoever comes to me to say everything that I do and how it works. And they tell me if something isn't working for them. And then we stop because there's so many other tools out there that I can use. Hypnotherapy is just one of them. So we've got EMDR, we've got tapping, we've got havening. These are just some of the things that we have. So, but we have so much more.
And she is amazing, y'all. She's actually created a app, the Menopause Meditation App. What problem were you solving from a business standpoint, and how did you validate that women needed that app?
Again, because of my own experience. Sorry, I keep going on about it. But honestly, it's so fundamental to this whole process, so fundamental to everything that I do. I noticed when I was working with clients, because one of the things is when you have what I had and I left my job because I just lost all confidence in myself. And memory was a difficult journey for me. It was really difficult. I was losing it. I thought I was losing. I thought I was getting Alzheimer's. So I turned to hypnotherapy. I started studying it as a way to try and help me with my own memory. Like that's what I thought. Anyway, that's what I thought. And what I was finding actually was when I was in sessions or when I was with clients working through sessions, I started to feel better. I started to have more clarity. My brain fog started to go. I started to be able to sleep better. And I thought, what's happening? So then I started making recordings for myself. And then I started listening to those recordings. And then they made a difference. They made a real significant shift in what was happening to me. I did that alongside a lot of other things, but I noticed particularly in helping me to go to sleep, it was a big game changer and a big game changer when it came to feeling calmer inside of myself. So then just accelerated. I started using it with other women. I started exploring it with other women. I gave it to my sister. And it was, and it's such a great resource because it's resources. You can turn to it 3 a.m. in the morning. You can turn to it in between a meeting because there's different tracks of different lengths. So you pick a 5-minute one and you get a breather. It takes you through it can take you through cognitive behavioral therapy, meditation, and hypnotherapy. So you get a lot combined within that. And these are all clinical tools. They're science backed. So they're not just out of the air things
Absolutely.
that we've been put together.
We talk about it being a girl's girl because when you're a girl's girl or a woman's woman, you go through your own personal experiences in life, and then you think about the things that you needed. And if it works for you, you want to share it with everybody versus hold to yourself. Again, thank you for wanting to share it, because a lot of people are like, girl, I ain't sharing that. I'm going through menopause. I don't want everybody to know that about me. But you actually had the courage to go out there and create an app and say, hey, I've gone through this. and you're going through this, I think this may be a great tool for you to use. And that's just being a woman's woman and a girl's girl. You having the courage to go out there and help other women. So I really do appreciate you for highlighting that on. I gave it to my sister, I gave it to my friends, I gave it to originally the people that you knew originally and
Yeah.
relationships, because we don't think about those people either. Your family members, your close friends, we really don't.
You don't. And yet, when I was broaching the subject, and people saying, "Well, yeah, no, I've got a bit of that," and I was like, "Well, try this because I've recorded it for me, but see if it helps." And they kind of did, and then it kind of just grew from there. But the interesting thing is, menopause occurs in so many different ways for people. You've got your natural menopause, then you've got those people that have got premature early menopause, and then you've got those who've got medically induced menopause, those people who may have, they may be having cancer treatment. They may have had medical treatment, and so they might have had their hysterectomy or their ovaries removed, an oophorectomy. Those things can cause menopause overnight. It's spontaneous. And for those people, a medical menopause can be really severe. Now, if you have cancer and you have cancer treatment, you can have menopause overnight. And what happens with that is that actually you can get more severe symptoms, but you don't get access to help with menopause because your medical professionals are so concerned about the cancer treatment or the treatment that you're having that the menopause is overlooked. And also, if you've got hormone receptive cancer, that means that you can't take HRT. What other tools do you have at your disposal? Because there are people out there that can't use HRT, and HRT isn't the complete answer. Yes, it helps. It helps massively. Don't get me wrong. For some people, it can actually make things worse if they can't get the dosages right. And some people react very badly to estrogen or progesterone. So these people need alternatives, and they need some other things that may be able to help them. This app is just one of them.
Absolutely. And as everybody can tell, she's done her research. She has the background, she has the experience, and she is an award winner, y'all. She just won the 2026 Menopause Award. How has that recognition impacted your visibility, credibility, and growth opportunities?
Oh, in lots of ways. It's been actually really multi-layered, to be honest. So I'm being invited now to speak at conferences. It's opened up a lot more conversations with corporates, with media. I've now been featured in the Daily Mirror over here in England. I'm now being featured in Woman and Home. The BBC have done some work with me. So yeah, it's opened up a lot of channels. A niche like women's cognitive health, an award kind of creates that trust. It creates that authority that would have taken me a lot longer to achieve, to be honest, if I'd had to do it without it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I just want to say congratulations. And it is a well deserved award because you're putting in that hard work and that dedication. And you spoke about how it's brought in media, how it's brought in opportunities. So let's talk about that revenue side for a minute. When it comes down to monetizing a niche in women's cognitive health, what revenue streams have been the most effective for you?
The corporate work has been the most effective. It's work I genuinely love. It's getting into organizations, shifting culture, changing how managers and leaders understand and support women through menopause. When you operate at a scale of 1-to-1, you can't actually match that. You can't match that kind of revenue stream as quickly, if you know what I mean. And now in the UK, we've got the Employment Rights Act that has come in, and from 2027, employers who have 250 or more employees now have to have not just menopause policies in place, but they have to have specific menopause. They have to show how they're actively helping women through menopause within the workplace. So a policy alone is not enough anymore. So the one-to-one work is great as well. It's the most satisfying, to be honest. The one-to-one is because it reminds me of why I do anything that I do. Once you get someone come to you and they look at you and they said, "You changed my life." No, no award, no corporate contract, no revenue figure. actually fills you up in the same way as someone saying those words. You've changed my life. And the impact that has on their families. There's no reward like it, to be fair. I mean, don't get me wrong, the income is important, but to me personally, those words are even more important. And one thing I just remembered about getting the award that I didn't mention before was one of the things that I noticed that it changed in me personally was my inner confidence, because I won that award on my own merits, my own hard work, my own grit. And it suddenly validated everything that I believed in and was passionate about. And it just made such a difference. But the app itself represents the third income stream, which is kind of exciting. I believe that that will become a significant income source, but I'm clear about what that means, right? It means getting our marketing right. It means understanding App Store algorithms, getting our visibility right, what is an increasingly crowded digital stage. And don't forget, it's just me. It's just me, little old me, and I'm competing against the big hitters like Headspace and Mind Valley and those people like that. But I believe in what I'm doing and I'm passionate about it. So
And you hit on those really good points of everybody in entrepreneurship. We're looking to make the money, but just hearing the words of "you changed my life" or "you made a difference in my life" or "thank you for being honest and open. I now feel better about telling my story." Those words can real deal put a fire in you and help you understand why you really are doing what you're doing. So I agree with you. What did you really accomplish other than making
yeah.
money? So I really
Yeah.
put that. Okay, so I know y'all been waiting on it. I want to get some advice right now from you. For women who may be experiencing anxiety and say loss of confidence, what are some simple tools you've turned into scalable content or offers that support both impact and income?
The most tangible, scalable tool right now is the Menopause Meditations app, right? Clinical tools like guided nervous system regulation, hypnosis, they're available to women any time of the day or night. I built tracks specifically for cognitive clarity, anxiety, sleep, confidence, because those are the symptoms that affect women's lives most practically. There's also sections on things like changing relationship with food, because let's face it, as we transition through menopause, our relationship with food does need to change because our estrogen buffer is no longer there. And therefore, we can either start to pile on the pounds or other things may start to happen. And we have to manage that, because otherwise, we can develop things like diabetes type 2. A lot of women can develop heart disease as we progress through and post menopause. Don't forget, this is not just about transitioning through menopause. This is about you having a better quality of life post menopause. That is so important. We're all living longer. Let's live healthier. Let's live better. There's no point having a long life and a poor quality of a life. Let's make it as good as we possibly can, right? Stress has an incredible impact. Stress is the number one impact on people's experience of menopause and exacerbating health symptoms. Let's understand our stress. Let's reduce it. So there's that. I'm also currently building a section of my website where women can purchase recordings as a bundle or a group bundles. It's not ready yet. So the clinical content I've developed can be accessed directly and they can choose what they want to have rather than having the whole app if that's not what they want. But scalability for me, it's still a work in progress. It's still happening for me. I know what I want to build. I know the content is strong. What I'm navigating now is the infrastructure around it, the marketing, the platforms, the visibility. And I think a lot of women in business will recognize that place. You have something genuinely valuable, but the next challenge is making sure that the right people can find it.
Absolutely. And I have enjoyed having Miss Mehat here today. And we always leave with a legacy here on About Her Business. And I give you a couple of minutes to think about this. When it's all said and done, what legacy do you want your work to leave behind?
It extends beyond midlife and menopause. Menopause, as I often say, it's the gift that just keeps giving. Unfortunately, the presents aren't always welcome. We don't always want those presents. Like I said, they can come in the form of type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease, osteoporosis. But if women have the right tools, if they're managing stress, they're approaching food and rest differently, they're regulating their nervous system consistently, we can delay or reduce the risk of some of that, of some of those outcomes. It's not guaranteed because we don't know the genetic component or what issues the other health conditions play, that they could play their part. But in the main, all of this helps, and that matters hugely. What I hope for women from now on is that women recognize menopause symptoms earlier, that they know what is available to them. They know how to go get it. They know how to go get the help. They can advocate for their own health so that nobody needs to go through that 7 years of hell that I went through. I don't want anyone to have that. And for the next generation, my hope that they are so empowered, so informed, that actually they simply don't experience menopause in the same way we are, because they'll know to recognize, they'll know what to do straight off the bat so that they can get the help so much earlier than we ever did. But the message that I want to leave every woman with is whatever age, whatever stage, you are everything to everyone. But now it's time to be everything to yourself first. It's like that oxygen mask on a plane that comes down. You put yours on first before you help anyone else. And if you do that, if you truly prioritize yourself, you will be so much more effective in every other part of your life.
Now, sadly, we have come to the end of today's episode. But before we go, because I know y'all ready for it, we're going to definitely make sure we get all of Miss Mehat's information. Please let us know how we can sign up for your services, where you're allowed to practice. Are you allowed to practice in the US and any other countries? And let us know all your socials. Let us know all the details.
Okay, I will. So, Menopause Meditations app can be found on the App Store, whether you are on Google Play or on Apple app, on the Apple App Store. You just click on there. You have a free trial on there for 7 days that you can try out. You can try, I think, 9 different recordings. They're all yours to try. So give it a go. See how you get on. I can work online, but I often don't. A lot of celebrities and corporates will fly me in to do work. However, if you're ever in London and you ever want to come and see me, I'm in Harley Street or I'm in Berkshire.
Absolutely. And I will be leaving all that information down in the description box below. Any final words before we adjourn today's Meet Miss Mehat?
Yes, if anyone needs any advice or has any questions, they can always email me, info@harleystreetconsulting.com. I will reply back, I promise, and I will do my very best to help you.
And ladies, with that, today's meeting is now adjourned. Thanks again to psychotherapist and menopause specialist, Miss Mira Mihet, for coming on and sharing all her insights. And you be sure to subscribe to About Her Business wherever you receive podcasts so you never miss whenever we upload. Also, leave me some comments down in that comment section on which industry you think I should interview next. Until next time, keep those goals tight, that circle tighter, and that bank account growing.